Everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti joining you throughout the afternoon. We're going to start the day a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Fast main track, firm turf course, nice sunny conditions here in South Florida. And it's always good news when you have firm turf running. I got lots of big fields this afternoon, and we got a $500,000 jackpot guarantee in the Rainbow Six. And on this 10 race card, that will start in race number 5. Of course, we also with all sorts of betting today, early and late pick 5, a couple of pick 4s, of course, rolling pick 3s. Lots of action for you today. Pick 5 pool already has over 13,000, and we're just getting underway with 57 minutes to post. And a great way to start the day with 2-year-olds on the turf. And this one's going to be run at about 7.5 furlong. And as I mentioned, maiden special weight 2-year-old, scratch the 9 down to 15. So we're starting the day with 8 horses in the first race. And I had some interest in a horse that was 20 to 1 in the morning line. Right now, sitting up there at 6 to 1. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out at once the money starts rolling in today. And that horse is Bad Gus. And it's all about breeding for me with Bad Gus. He's a half brother to a pair of graded stakes place winners on the turf. He's a son of More Than Ready, who I like on the turf. He's going to debut on the grass course today for Antonio Sano, and I think he merits consideration just on the breeding alone. And Antonio not known to have first-time starters ready to roll, so maybe you get a little bit of a price. So my long shot today is the number 3, Bad Gus. The number 8 horse is currently the 3 to 1 favorite. See My Meister is debuting on the turf after rallying to finish third. That was a special weight race. Now that was moved from the turf to 7 furlongs on the main track. Kelsey Danner has got Miguel Vasquez atop this son of Bodemeister, who's probably the most seasoned runner in the body of the race for sure. So he's got that seasoning. See how he does it, if he can translate that to the turf today. And the number 6 Globes, who's been taking some steady money in here. This one is making his career debut on the turf for Arundel Farm. Leading rider Edgar Zayas will be in the saddle today. And you just watch the tote action. Some interesting works on this horse up north. So we'll see how this horse handles debuting on the turf, as I mentioned, with leading jock. Well, co-leading jock, I think, tied now into the stands is MCL Jaramillo and Edgar Zayas. So we're not going to slight MCL. So I think they're tied at the top at 78. Not totally positive about that, but I think that's the situation. Race 2 this afternoon, 7 furlongs, maiden claim is fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $12,500. And not a lot of scratches on today's card either, except also a main track onlys. And this one is going to have a feel of 8-2. And I'm going to go to 8 Cozy Cafe. And I want to go back and show you Cozy Cafe. Now, it wasn't the last race when it didn't fire, but I was so impressed with its last race. First, we're going to show you the start when, she had to really take up sharply in this race. You're going to see her there. She is the number 2 Cozy Cafe. And, just so hard to overcome that kind of start. But we're going to see this horse turning for home. I think runs exceptionally well in that. And, we're picking it up, turning for home about the 316 pole. And she closes. She goes really out wide. You just have to watch it through the stretch. She's just, trying to find that place to run. The horses are sort of crowding in. So she dips to the outside. So I thought it was a really good performance. So she drops today. And that's the important thing. Don't forget, this was at the 20 level. The last race when she finished 4th was also at the 20 level. So we got the drop. And I just thought that horse, of that performance and the drop for Eddie Plesa Jr. with Edgar Zayas in the saddle would be a major player. The number 3, My Beauty Princess, is dropping a notch and stretching out that additional furlong after back-to-back second-place finishes at the 16 level, including the last when blinkers were added for that start. Amador Sanchez, Hector Berrios in the irons this afternoon. And then number 6, Illusions of Love, drops, tries the 7-furlong distance today, hoping both those karma changes help produce a winning performance for Dave Brady. Romero Mirage will be in the saddle. So Cozy Cafe on the drop. My selection here in race number 2. Flipping the page and going back to the third race today, with the third race, 1 mile starter optional claimer. These are 4-year-olds that started for $8,000 less, or the optional claiming price of 16. We had a big scratch in this race. This is the main scratch on the card, and that's the 8 Trapezoid, who was the 2 to 1 morning line favorite. So I had Trapezoid on top, but I bumped up number 1 Royal Squeeze, who's stretching out to the mile today after dueling from start to finish in its last race when beaten the neck by a repeat winner called Pudding, who's going to be running today, actually in the 9th race. So Pudding in the 9th race today, and that was a $20,000 claimer going 7 7 furlongs. This is a 9-year-old, a hard-knocking a 9-year-old. And this horse is the inside speed with Christian Torres in the saddle. The number 2, Brasstown, who had chased Trapezoid home in 2 previous races on the main track, looks solid, would not have to deal with his nemesis in this race. So the scratch of Trapezoid certainly moves up this horse. Antonio Sano, Edgard Zayas. Then the 3, Devoted Kitten, who goes to the Dan Peterbahn. I believe Dan won the last race yesterday via the claim after drawing clear to crush 12-5 claimers going a mile. That was in the slop that day. The new connections, they keep the status quo. They got Miguel Vasquez in the saddle. This looks like a nice spot. And with the scratcher Trapezoid in there, this race absolutely becomes wide open. If you got a good opinion, jump right on it in race number 3. We had a late scratch in race number 4. Just got it a little while ago, and that is on the 4, Heal the Soul. But this one, 5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claim is 3 and up, 50,000. The reason I alluded to Heal the Soul, that was my best bet on the day. So that one is not going to perform today, but we're going to go with number 2, World Candy, who showed promise sprinting on the turf at Santa Anita last year. Debuts locally for who? Leading trainer, Sappy Joseph Jr. What about him? Ran 1, 2, 3 in the stake yesterday in the Mr. Steel. This one goes back to the grass, talking about World Candy, with blinkers added after ending that 2020 campaign going a mile. That was on the Del Mar main track. The barn is 23% with new additions to the shed row. Miguel Vasquez atop the really nicely bred son of Twirling Candy. Then number 6, this one in here is twice too many. Going to try the turf today after back-to-back in the money finishes, sprinting on the dirt against similar quality. So Ed Plesa Jr., Edgard in the saddle today. And here's a horse that's running really nice on the dirt in its last 2 races. Going to try the turf this afternoon. And if you key off those performances, you just sort of the guesswork is how does that horse translate that to the turf today. And then the number 1, Dalio from Gustavo Delgado. And this one is a half to a grade 3 stakes place horse called Cool Beans. So I'm thinking this horse can run well. Gustavo Delgado, 27% with his first-time starters. But for me, a big scratch in here of the number 4, Heals the Soul, was my best bet. So I'm going with my selections up there, 2, 6, 1, and 3. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow 6 ticket.
In the 2 path. Round off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Just a minute after noon, so we'll say good afternoon to everyone if you're just joining us. And the 5th race will be a mile claimer for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3 in life, $6,250. And I mentioned at the top of the show we had some big fields today, and we're starting the Rainbow 6 with a 12-horse field. Let's take a look at my ticket today, $38.40, and I did go 3 deep in here. I like this race, pretty competitive. I did go Ranger up, Please Sit Down, and Strong Ending, the number 5 horse from Coquet's Barn. Race number 6, I think the race goes through Sugar Fix or maybe Zodiac Princess, who ran well against that horse a couple of starts back. And then I got lots of coverage in race number 7 with the 1, 4, 5, and 6. And the reason I added 4, I just didn't know what to do with Tonalist Shape, who's the 2-to-1 favorite in there. I actually picked that horse further down the ticket, but I didn't want to get beat, so I did a little change and add 4, which you don't normally see me do all the time. Race number 8, 2 horses in there, Template and Cramden, and race number 9, 2 deep with Front Loaded and Wandering West. And in the end, I wish I could have gone a little deeper here, but my ticket would have been way up there. I went with Hustle Queen and Uptown Queen, so a couple of queens in the last race for me this afternoon. So getting back to race number 5, as I mentioned, is a mile claimer. I went with the 10 Ranger up on top of my ticket, who moved to the Victor Barboza barn, via the claim. Makes his first start since defeating those 6,202 lifetime claimers. That was going a mile. It was back during May, but you know the barn, how good they are first off the claim. They're going to keep Miguel Vasquez in the saddle today, and I just thought this, playing the percentages here with first off the claim, and I like the fact that they gave this horse a little time off and hasn't been seen some May, so there is a little bit of guesswork going there. The number one, Please Sit Down, is dropping to this level today. First race since facing hard-knocking starter optional claiming company. You could see Trapezoid, who we mentioned is scratched early today, just loves to win races and bunces. And this horse ran well with them. Victor LeBron handling the class relief. I believe this is the morning line favorite in there. And then the number 5, Strong Ending, who's hoping to find more firepower today for the stretch drive after rallying to finish second at this level and distance. Connections have Chantal Sutherland. Chantal, a good day yesterday. She had multiple victories. She actually had 2 wins yesterday's card, so very good for her. And that is race number 5, which once again starts the Rainbow Six with a cool $500,000 in the jackpot guarantee. We're going back to the turf for race number 6. It's a mile and 1/16. It's a starter allowance, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, who started for $16,000 in or less. Now, I want to go back. Sugar Fix has been on a roll, got 2 consecutive victories, but I'm going to go 2 starts back, show you the performance from Zodiac Princess. First, we're going to show you the start here with Zodiac Princess, who just has to steady back in the race. You see there, falls back in the saddle as the number 7 horse in here. And as I mentioned, Sugar Fix ran exceptionally well, actually came back and won again. But here's the turn for home. Sugar Fix going up to get the lead, and Zodiac Princess, because of that bad start, was sort of, up against it, had a tip out here in the stretch, and I thought ran pretty nice behind Sugar Fix. I had a legitimate excuse at the start, and you could see the 7 horse. I mean, they went fast early in this race, so it was a nice setup for the 7, but the 7 would not give up, was really flying in the stretch, and finishes second to Sugar Fix, who I mentioned, going for its 3rd consecutive victory. So maybe you'd use both of these or flip-flop these 2 today, trying to get a little bit of a price. And then the number 5 horse in here, Isadorable Ida, is looking to make amends after responding in that first race. After the claim by Carlos David, where the 2nd place finish, was beaten the length that day as the tepid favorite. That was against 20 claimers at this same distance of a mile and a 16. So Carlos David, excellent. I think that horse is going to run well again. I would have liked to have used that one on my Rainbow Six ticket, but you got the late pick 5 here, so maybe you add it to your late pick 5 ticket this afternoon. So for me, Sugar Fix, Zodiac Princess, who might be the sneaky in there, and then the 5 horse, Isadorable Aida. Race number 7 today is a 1-mile allowance optional claimer. Now, these are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. The optional claiming price is $62,500. A nice race in here. 6 runners are going to go to the post. I went with the 5 R Fantasy. He was a sharp winner at a mile at this mile distance. 2 starts back, stretches out. Had some trouble at the start last time out. Got parked 5 wide when finishing 6th. That was in the 6.5 furlong, $75,000 musical romance last time out. Kathleen O'Connell, Luca Panici returning. This one's a 5-time winner at the distance. I think that was a musical romance, may have been a little tough. Plus, they had the legitimate excuse of having that trouble at the start. The number 1 horse in here, Don't Get Cozy, is stretching out to her best distance ever, breaking outward at the start and finishing 5th in the $60,000 overnight handicap. That was going 7/8 of a mile. Antonio Sano has Edgard returning. This is a 7-time local winner. She's very consistent in here, and that is Don't Get Cozy. The other horse I had used was Crumbun, who's stretching out to 8 furlongs today after rallying to finish an improved second by a hard-knocking horse called Hawala, and in front of Don't Get Cozy last time out, going 7 furlongs in the last. I didn't know what to do with Tonalist Shape. I mean, this horse was the talk of the town last year. Came back, didn't run that well, but it's Sappy Joseph Jr., so I had to add this one to the ticket, 2-1 in the morning line. I kept going back. I don't know if I missed this horse or just didn't rate it high enough, so I used this horse on my Rainbow Six ticket. When you figure out the race, I think you give it another look to Tonalist Shape. Race 8 today is about 7.5 furlongs on the turf. These are claimers. They're 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and up who have not won 3 races, 20 down to $16,000. And once again, a clean slate. No scratches, no jockey changes to tell you about. I went with the 7 Template, who goes to the Mike Maker barn after the claim and going to shorten up just a little bit to 7.5 furlongs after chasing the winner of that race, actually, and finishing second against this level of competition going a mile. Semi Camacho in the saddle today. So first off, the claim by Mike Maker. Number 8, Cramden. You know, I think this one has got a bit of a price on the board. I think it's 8-1 or something. I like this horse today. Stepping up, returning to the turf, followed the second place finish against those 12-5, 3 lifetime runners on the grass. Comes back and runs second, going a mile in the dirt last time out. Boy, Mark Cassie having a fantastic meeting. He's got Miguel Vasquez at top. This very consistent gelding. So maybe we get a little bit of a price with Cramden, sort of getting a little bit of a class check today. So the number 3 Complex System I went with is dropping into, I think, a competitive situation after following that 16 state-bred optional claiming victory. Now, that was 2 starts back. Breaks low in that race, finishes 8th and last against 25 optional claimers. Maybe they put this one in a little tough spot last time out, but we'll see how this horse runs. Got to get out of the gate to run well. I believe on the board it's 7-2. Actually, the second choice behind number 7 Template in there. So I think the drop is the key there. Going to race number 9, which starts the first half of the late daily double, I went with a horse in here, the number 2, Front Loaded. And Front Loaded, I think, third on the line. And this one moves to the Bob Hess Jr. barn. So we're going to go back and show you. We're going to show you to start with Front Loaded first, getting shuffled back. Oh, no, this was on the far turn. This one gets shuffled back on the far turn. You're just going to see it here. Follow the 8 horse and just, you know, one of those things where the jock just had a slam on the brakes. And then we're going to just switch it to the 8-pole home when he finished third. Now, there was no catching loose on the lead Kalu that day. Kalu was very impressive that afternoon, but I just thought after that trouble trip going into the far turn that the number 8 horse in here, the Front Loaded, to 2 horse today, 8 there, it would run well. Just kept on going, and no one was catching Kalu. I know this horse got beat a length and even got beat for a second, but I thought had a legitimate excuse, and this to me seems like a much easier spot, at least on paper. The number 4, Wandering West, is cutting back to 7 furlongs today after dueling throughout and drifting late in that race when finishing a well-meant second, going a mile for Louis Roussel III. You got Embassy El Jaramillo handling the turn back in distance, and I think that's the right move. As you mentioned earlier, I alluded to 8 Pudding. He's going to try and make it 3 in a row today at the 7 furlong distance, which you have to like. After returning from Tampa to defeat those 20 claimers in driving fashion for Kathleen O'Connell. And you got Chantal Sutherland in the irons. And as I also mentioned, Chantal, a good day. Chantal's been running good form, but she had multiple wins on Saturday's card. I got to remember what day it was. Race number 10 this afternoon is a mile on the turf. These are maiden claiming fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. $16,000. We have 1 scratch so far of the 11. There's another main track only, or also eligible. And Pete will update you with all the scratches, Pete Aiello, as soon as I get done here in another few minutes. I went with the number 9, Hustle Queen, who's dropping back to the 16 level. After back-to-back 4th place finishes at the $35,000 level, it's a daughter of Canteros and has tried now 5 furlongs and 8.5 furlongs. Maybe this one scores at the mile, so I put this one on top of my ticket, and I think the morning line favorite in there. And then the number 2, Uptown Queen, who's been knocking on the door in both recent turf outings, which includes that 2nd place finish behind that repeat winner called Tammany as the favorite last time out. So sort of flattered by Tammany coming back and win again. So maybe when the smoke clears, the number 2 will be the favorite in there. And then the number 5 for me, Kick Out the Jams, who's cutting back to the mile distance or 8 furlongs after going up and setting the pace. Weakening late against this level of competition, going a mile in the 16th for Mr. Mike Maker. Chantal will be in the saddle handling the turn back in distance. So that's how I see the 10 race card. Taking a short break. When we'll come back, we have a very interesting lightning round we're going to look at.
Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new Mobile Pass Performances. Access the most trusted information in horse racing, including exclusive buyer speed figures and DRF analysis and selections. Experience the new mobile optimized DRF Pass Performances on your phone from anywhere at any time. Go to drf.com/now. Use coupon code NOW to get a free single card and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti here with you throughout the whole afternoon. I will be here actually, and it's time for our lightning round. And we're going to start it off with the stake race yesterday with the Renaissance Frolic winning for Saffie Joseph in the Mr. Steel. And there you see Renaissance, the number 3 horse coming in, and you see Noble Indy and Max KO. And the reason to mention those 3 horses because Saffie Joseph Jr. trained all 3, but Renaissance Frolic stretching out from the mile to the mile and the 16th gets up. So Saffie 1, 2, 3. I think he's done it a couple of times in the stakes races this year. So he finishes 1, 2, 3. Congratulations to the connections. You know, during the winter campaign, and even during the spring, we saw a horse in here, Chuck Willis, that we mentioned on the air when we were talking about this horse that we thought this horse would, run well and maybe be stakes, quality, and certainly that was it. So we're going to go back and revisit this horse winning the Golden Glades last time out, Chuck Willis. And the reason we're mentioning this one's going to run today in the Grade 2 Connaught Cup up at Woodbine. So I think this horse, I was really impressed with it. Irish bred, and if you remember, Val Me Now was in that race, and who's coming in third is the horse Renaissance Frolic, who actually won the stake here yesterday. So if you're looking to make a bet up there in Woodbine, I was really impressed with this horse, of course, trained by Mark Cassie. So up in Canada, we'll see how Chuck Willis runs. And we got a great, what do you call it, program here at Gulfstream Park and at Express Bet, and of course First Bet, where up at Del Mar, if jockey Abel Cedello wins at Del Mar, you get $100 if you happen to be, of course, an Express Bet or First Bet, and it's a way they have to do it. So this jockey Abel actually won 2 races on opening day at Del Mar, so they have a giveaway a couple of $100. So you got to try this. Go on to First Bet or Express Bet, and you see right there in the corner it says "Learn More," and apparently I have to learn more because I was stumbling through that. But Abel Castillo, I know he had 2 winners on opening day at Del Mar. We like to always toot our horn when we got some horses that have won here at Gulfstream Park, win somewhere else. And that horse I'm alluding to is Dr. Post, who won Gulfstream's 2020 Unbridled Stakes. But here he is at Monmouth yesterday, winning the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup for Todd Pletcher. Of course, just a great performance. You see coming up on the outside was a 5-2 on the line and gets the job done there. So, of course, Todd Pletcher, a perennial leading trainer here at Gulfstream Park throughout the winter. So just a couple of things we wanted to touch on the lightning round. I'm going to be quiet for a little while. I'm going to turn it over to Pete Aiello, catch my breath, and then we'll be back here throughout the afternoon. Hope we can all have a winning day. Good luck, everybody.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground off first inside. Race. Quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12.